Hey guys, so Shadowhunters Season 2, Episode 11. Let's talk about this. So it begins with Jace and Alec fighting, which is super exciting because both of them have great chemistry and their fighting scenes are always great. I love it. Then it switches into Simon and Clary having a nice romantic evening by the water, and it's all very sweet. And Clary calls Simon sexy, and it's very awkward. And Simon can walk in the daylight now. One of my favorite scenes was when Simon tried to hug Jace. The way Dom Sherwood, Jace, reacted was like very lame. And have I mentioned I am not happy with the casting for Jace? It's just, no, it's not good. And the way Dom Sherwood played that scene was just, it was very awkward. And Simon was being this funny, nerdy guy that he is, and Dom Sherwood couldn't live up to the Jace that we all know and love. We then go into Valentine, who is held captive at the Institute. And have I mentioned how amazing Alan Rickman is? He plays King Henry in this other show that I love, Reign. His acting skills are fantastic. One of the reasons I love Valentine's character in the show. And we see that Valentine is being interrogated, tortured, and it takes us into a flashback. Valentine's childhood. It's something to do with his father, obviously. And I assume that we will be getting a lot more flashbacks during the rest of the season. They're probably going to come up with reasons for the way Valentine became who he is. Then we go into Izzy, who is a Yin Fen druggie. Trying to recover, it's all very sad for her. She goes to find Raphael, who rejects her. They do not understand this relationship. Don't trip it, it's just, no. And neither of them are good actors, and they have no chemistry. She goes and looks for other vampires, but there she encounters the greater demon, Azazel, who is apparently from the worst dimension of hell. I'm really excited for this character because he's the first one who's truly evil, and evil characters are the most interesting to watch. Azazel attacks Izzy, but Izzy is saved by Sebastian. In the books, he was like one of my favorite characters because I love Sebastian. He's so much fun to, watch the evil things that he does and the chaos he ensues. And this actor, he seems pretty good, and I'm hopeful for Sebastian, and he's a very important character to get right. In the TV show, you can also see that he's like beautiful and charming and smooth, and apparently he is a Yin Fen ex-druggie. And it's very clear that this is how Sebastian is gonna weasel his way into this group. He's gonna help Izzy, and Izzy's probably gonna be like devoted to him and grateful, and so she'll bring him back as a friend, and who knows, maybe at some point Izzy will even date Sebastian. I mean, it makes sense because right now Izzy is the weakest link, and it makes sense that he would use Izzy to try and get into the Institute. Sebastian gives Izzy this anecdote to temporarily heal her from her addiction. Izzy needs to stop taking weird drugs from weird people. Yin Fen was supposed to do the exact same thing. Now look where she is. She's literally struggling from a drug. Why the hell would she go and take an anecdote from somebody she met less than an hour ago? I am so mad with Izzy's character. So now Clary knows that she's not Jace's brother. I'm kind of mad that they already revealed this in this episode because I honestly thought that they would hold it for a little bit longer because it's something that they could play out, Like it could be something that could be eating Jace up and, could make the audience emotional or whatever. Content in the Shadowhunters episodes is always so messed up. Sometimes they'll have so much, sometimes they'll have nothing, and they always rush through these kind of things, and so it's always like very underplayed. And Jace looks like a little kid when he's crying. He does this weird thing with his lips where he's like pouting, but not like in the theme song. I don't know, it's weird. And Alec goes to comfort him. And in this situation, so unemotional. Both of them seem so foreign and distant from each other. They're supposed to be brothers. They're supposed to be so close. They're supposed to be more than brothers, more than best friends. They're parabatai. They're supposed to be so close. And yet, when Alec goes to hug Jace, it's so unnatural and weird. So apparently, Jace can activate his runes without a steel now. Don't know what is happening. Firstly, no one is supposed to activate runes. Supposed to have them drawn on, like in the books. I don't know why they changed that. No one knows what's happening with him. And the ending. Oh, the ending. So Magnus, Alec, Clary, and Jace summon Azazel because they think that Azazel has captured Izzy, who is actually homing up with Sebastian, who's found an excuse to keep Izzy in his house under the false pretenses of that she won't be able to handle herself when she goes out. And so Alec, Jace, Clary, and Magnus summon Azazel and use Valentine as bait. And so Azazel appears, right? And Azazel is 1,000,000 times stronger than them. Who would have guessed that? Who would have guessed that a greater demon that is rare and everyone fears and can kill an entire restaurant is bigger than them and they can't defeat them? You know, that, who would have thought that? What I think happened at the end was that, so Azazel does this weird thing where he's like holding Valentine's eyes, and what I assume this is what happened is that he did some magic so that Valentine and Magnus switch bodies. That can be seen when, at the end, Magnus is walking down the street like disgusting warlock. That's probably Valentine because he hates Deadworlders. Magnus in Valentine's body, like captured and held captive and trapped in Valentine's body, is, you know, and he screams, "Help me!" And oh, poor Magnus. I'm really interested to see how they're gonna play this out. And so I assume that Azazel did this so that he has better access to Valentine because, you know, he wants the Mortal Cup. And Valentine's the only one who knows where it is, and Valentine claims he doesn't, but it's probably a lie. So Azazel is probably, you know, changed him into Magnus to access him without causing any suspicions. And yeah, because it's easier to access someone, you know, free like Magnus rather than someone who's trapped and held captive at an institute like Valentine. Yeah, so this episode was definitely interesting. My name's Ishani, by the way. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. If you liked it, if you didn't, yeah, please comment below and like, subscribe. Thank you.